Hello, good morning, happy Monday. Oh, just as the central heater turned off too, which is excellent. How are you all doing today? Etsutsu, hello. How are you doing? How was your weekend? Hopefully it was pretty good. I ended up getting a ton of chores done around the house, which is always really nice. Not long enough. That is true. It's never long enough. I kind of wish that we would get the that 4 day work week thing going, and then get Friday or Monday or something as the extra weekend day. And oh man, that would be so much. That'd be so good. Be able to get all sorts of extra chores done. Be able to have fun one of the days, and just sort of maybe even like explore around and actually go and do something with friends. Be amazing. All right. Today we're continuing on with recording videos for CRUD data in the database. So getting all items from the database. Okay, so this is gonna be a select all, and let me remind myself where everything is. So we have source, routes. Okay, so we have our get one task. So we're gonna want to do get all tasks, right? And it's gonna be like it's not find by ID. I think it's just, is there a find? Yeah, there is a find. And then we filter. But if I'm getting literally everything, I guess I show that you can filter, but in this case, we're not going to. And then it's all instead of one. That gives us all the option, all the tasks, which I think is then a vector of model, and then we respond with that. Now, what's interesting is if I have different routes for like get tasks, I think I also want to refactor this from get one task to just like maybe like task routes or tasks. Maybe or get task. Maybe this could be get task because the response task is exactly the same. And I want it to be the same. I don't want it to accidentally be twice. So I want to define this in a single place. Defining this in mod doesn't make sense. So I think we're going to refactor get one task into get tasks. Okay. That makes sense to me. We what's the chance that if I just jump into the recording, everything will just work out and I won't have forgotten how anything works, and everything will be perfect. Let's see, go into, oh, it's one level up. I want to make a note to myself for later. I want to redo my Stream Deck buttons. It's not really set up for recording videos very well, and it's a little bit painful. Okay, so close this up. Let's create, um, we'll probably start, we'll probably start here with Thunder Client, and where we were getting a single task, this one, which is still working. I now want to get all tasks. That's just literally just removing this 5 from it. Oh yeah, and I get to show that the order doesn't matter, unlike pretty much every other backend framework router that I've ever seen. That'll be interesting. Okay, let's do this. Well, I usually start another README. In this video, we're going to be getting all of the items from the database instead of just one of the items. Let's take a look at our Thunder client to sort of show what I mean by that. So instead of getting a single task by ID here, I'm just going to get all the tasks. Well, of course, this isn't really going to work yet because we don't have a route for that. So it's going to get a 405 method not allowed because it can't actually find this. So let's go ahead and find this. Also, note 405 method not allowed. That's kind of different, isn't it? Previously, we were used to 404. So I think this is getting a little bit confused with the /5 here, because it's thinking we're trying to match this, but we're passing null. It's basically it's very confused. So or actually, you know what? It's to this one. The task is the post. That's what it's getting confused with. So that's why we're getting the method not allowed for it. Well, let's fix that. So head into our code, and in our data, let's go ahead and create the route first. Now, before I started recording this video, I was thinking about where I want to organize this. And in get one task, we have this response task, which I think is really important for us to keep consistent if we're getting a single task or if we're getting multiple tasks. And in this case, we're now going to get multiple tasks. So I want to refactor this this routes file to use a different name. So let's first start with just the refactor of it. So I'm going to say get tasks. But the get one task I think can stay the same in here. So if I save you in mod here, this is now get tasks. You also get tasks, get one task. Okay, you should be happy. And if I come back to here and hit send, /5. Excellent. Okay, everything is still working correctly. So what we can do is inside of get tasks, let's create a new route here for get all tasks. So pub async function get all tasks. Now we know we don't need the path. We do know that we need the extension with the database connection. So let's go ahead and add that in here. Extension, database, extension, database connection. I'm not going to filter the results at all yet. I think that is something that's important in the future. We don't, when we say get all, we don't usually mean get literally everything in the database. Usually we mean get all the things that you can get, like that you're allowed to get based upon authentication, based upon role, based upon whatever. And so I'll show you how we can do that in a query, but we're not going to actually like implement that in this video. Okay, and so we're going to take that in. We are going to return a result. We're going to it's going to be a JSON still, but it's going to be a vector of response task. Okay, and our error is going to be the same thing that we had up here. It's going to be this, just a status code in the case that it fails. Let's put a to-do in here and go set this up in our mod. All right, so we have get one task. Let's also get all tasks and add that to the route. Now, you might be used to another backend framework, like let's say Express, where the order of the routes are really, really important. In fact, we've already seen that with the layers, because if I put this layer up here at the top, then our task ID, which needs the database, won't be able to get it. So based upon that, we would think that maybe we need to add this after. But strangely, we can put the route for get all tasks anywhere. Now in this case, it is unique and different. That's going to be fine. But if I put like another thing that used something in here, it wouldn't matter. So it's actually a nice thing. It's actually doing true pattern matching across all of these at runtime. Okay, so we're going to do task slash, actually just that. This is going to be a get. So a get to get all tasks. Okay, so that makes you happy. Back to get tasks. Okay, so unused variable database, that's fine. We're going to use that very soon. So we're actually going to follow pretty much the same pattern that we have up here. So instead of find by ID, so let's do let tasks equals tasks. We're going to just do find. So this will get all of them. Now, obviously I don't pass in the ID here. It's just going to find everything. I'm going to do an all here. Pass in a reference to the database and await and unwrap that. Mismatch types. Okay, let me show you. Let's say if we did want to filter things though, and we don't want to get literally everything, between the find and the all, we could put our filters here. So now if I want to filter by, I don't know, let's say the user ID, in the case that we have a user that we've logged in as, we don't right now, we could do a dot filter. Oh, sorry, we already have a dot filter. We want a task. I think it's tasks. We want column. We want whatever we're filtering by. So let's say we want user ID is going to be equal to whatever, like 3. And I think this might actually have to be like a sum 3, because our user ID is optional. But okay, that's how we would be able to set up the filters. I don't want that right now. Okay, so we now have a vec of model, but I want to turn these into a vec of response tasks. So, well, given that we have that, let's go ahead and we can do this all in one line. So after I'm going to put these all, so one line at a time. So we get all, we await that, we unwrap it. Now we have an iterator. So we have a vector. We want to turn that into an iter. We have ownership of it right now, so we might as well do an into iter, but an iter is fine as well. So an iter. Then I want to map this. We're going to get a basically a DB task, and I want to turn this into a response task. So we're going to return a response task. Let's fill the struct fields. And okay, let's set this up. So for ID, that's going to be db task task.id. For to do that, or sorry, for title, that's going to be the db task.title. And I probably am going to have to clone this, aren't I? Because we have a reference to the model. So let's go ahead and clone you. Priority is an option, but it's also an option up here, so we can just clone the entire option. So this is going to be db task.priority, clone you, and description is going to be a db task.description and not clamp, clone. Okay. So we returned this, so no semicolon, down to this map, and then we want to collect it together. So collect. Now, normally you have to give a type to collect because it has no idea what this is. But we told Rust, hey, we're going to return with this. So let's go ahead and replace this to do here with an OK. And this is going to be a JSON. And then we're going to put in tasks. And suddenly it knows exactly what type it's going to be because, well, we told it up here. Okay, everything seems to be working fine. Let's head back to here so we get our one still. But now if I do a get to tasks, we get all of the tasks and exactly what we sent back. So if we want to send more or less, we can change that with the response task. All right, this is what this video is about, getting all the tasks, and we have successfully done that. So hopefully this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. All right, let's go ahead and mark this is done too. Or specifically rename this file. So this is get all tasks, or get all from database. Those clones would not have been needed had you used iter. I know, I was like thinking, should I use iter? And then for some reason my brain was like, nah, iter is just good enough. It shows what I know. Oh, wrong keyboard. What did I do? Okay, so I still got get all that from you. We do this. Okay, so you're recorded. Oh, using filters. I had that as the next thing. Okay. I don't have any filters in mind for this besides, let's see, if I look at get all tasks. I guess we could do a start with, wait, I kind of like want to re-record that and then not mention the filters, and then we can do the into iter, and then that would be better. Because I sort of forgot that the very next thing is going to be using the filters, which I kind of talked about, but like there's no reason to talk about it in that video. It's literally in the next video. And we're going to get everything, and then maybe we do a like. Okay, so I'm going to revert you. Discard all of you. Let's do this again. I'll open up you here. That was a warm up. No, not a hello world. I want you here. Okay. You were slightly confused with the route ordering explanation. Yeah, I realized in the middle of the route ordering explanation that there was no need for the explanation because this route was fully unique and therefore wouldn't trigger any worries about that. It's not until I do like a get. I don't know if we're gonna trigger that in this one. So yeah, don't need to mention that either. Oh, okay. So we're gonna work on this next. Get all items from the database. I think everything is good. Right, I want to delete that video. And maybe just explain that allows get post in separate routes. I mean, but we already have that. Like we already have get post in separate routes. And is that true? Well, I guess like not exactly the same. Oh, I probably need to explain the 405 not allowed. That's the only thing I need to explain. Is the 405. Okay. All right, well let's try this again. I think with Actix Web it would have just matched the path and second route would be skipped. If it was a get, right? Like if both of them were gets and yeah. And that's how almost all backend frameworks work. It's quite surprising on this one that it actually I think clearly what they're doing is at compile time, they're building a list of routes and they're creating a little bit of logic that runs at runtime that then chooses the appropriate route. And then it just goes from there. So it doesn't matter the order. It just works. Now it can't do that. Like no frameworks would like have that problem. I think it would be like if it was a get and a get, and the routes one had a query parameter or a path parameter, and one didn't, and therefore they're like you can't tell if like that thing in the URL is meant to be the variable or if it's meant to match. That's usually what happens. But I don't need to explain that in this video here. Okay, so we're gonna do get all items in the database. Take 2. Hello, in this video, we're going to be getting all of the items from the database using CORM. Okay, let's jump into it. First, I already have the server running, and everything is going well, and we're leaving off where we ended last time. We're starting where we ended up last time, which was we're getting the individual task. Now, what I want to do is do a get to tasks and have it return with all of them. Right now, we're getting a 405 instead of a 404, which might feel a little bit confusing. But if we head down to our routes, we'll notice that we do have a route with /task here. And so that's why we're getting this 405. Notice that it's a method not allowed. And that's because we are essentially requiring a post for /task instead of also allowing a .get. So as soon as we add the get, we'll stop getting the 405 and we'll get the 200 again. The second thing is I was thinking about where I want to put the get all tasks, and I think I want to put it inside of the get one task. Now the main reason for that is because we are using this struct response task, and I want to make sure that these stay consistent between our get one and then the get all, so that way you're getting exactly the same object every single time. So because that, I want to first rename this file from get one task to just get tasks. Now, if I save you, that's fine. Get one task should be exactly the same. We go to mod here. Now VS Code has automatically updated the the mod get task and then the use get task here. I just have to save the file, and we should be good. Okay, let's get back into get task and add in our new route. So I want a pub async function get all tasks. We aren't going to take in a path, but we are going to take in that extension. So we want the extension database, which is type extension database connection. Okay, I don't think we need anything else in right now, and we're going to be returning a result with a JSON response. Now, not just a response task, a vector of response task. And if we fail for some reason, just a status code. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to throw in a to-do here. And because I forget to do this all the time, I like to just, as soon as possible, throw this into the route list here. So we're going to do a route / tasks. I actually like to put this next to so we can see all the tasks together. This is going to be a get. And I need to also pull in get all tasks here. Okay, so I want to get all tasks. I have several extra. See, open, close. That one. I think that's good. Maybe get all tasks. Oh, I don't want to call you. Okay, there we go. That's what we wanted. Okay, so back in get tasks here. So what do we want to do? We want to kind of follow the same pattern here as in get all tasks. We're going to do something slightly different. In the case that we get an error, I do want to return an error instead of just crash. So I want to show you while we're getting this, hey, we can convert this unwrap into handling the error properly. So we're going to first start with let all tasks equals, I'm going to use tasks. Instead of find by ID, we're just going to do find. Instead of .1, we're going to do a .all and pass in a reference to the database. Okay, great. Then we await like normal. Now, instead of unwrap, because right now we do have a result, we want to map error. So what this is going to allow us to do is run a function across all the possible errors that we're getting back, and or at least route across the error that we could get back, and convert it into an error of our choice. So here we have a database error. I don't necessarily care what this is right now. I just know that it's a problem on my end. So if something is a problem on my end, I know that I want to return a status code. So status code, I want server error. The bad request. What was not forbidden? What was a 500? Method not allowed. Multiple choices. Request timeout. Service unavailable. I don't remember the message for a 500 error. I certainly don't want an OK. Let's see. Get we timeout. Forbidden. Not bad request, I don't think. I need to, okay, let's do a really quick search. If we're not sure which one we want to use, we want a HTTP status code 500. Sorry if you can't read that. I can't make the URL bar a little bit stronger, but okay. Oh, 500 internal server error. That's what it is. So I want internal server error there. Now, that gives me another result here, which now I can question mark because that's going to now hit this status code here for part of the result. So then I can semicolon that. And now in tasks, we have a vec of the model. Great, but it's a model. So similar to what we have here, we need to iterate through this vector and convert it into the, these response tasks. Now, to me, that sounds like what we need is a map. Now, if you're unfamiliar with map, a map is a function that we can call on every single item in the vector and change it around to something. So map it from one thing to another thing. Now, we can't just do that directly on vectors. We have to convert this into an iterator. And we have ownership of the entire model here because we're just grabbing it from the database and it just created everything into REST at that point. So we can just do an into iterator, and then we can do a map. So here we have a DB task, and I want to convert this to a response task. Let's fill the struct fields, and let's go ahead and fill all these in. So for ID, this is going to be a DB task dot ID. For our title, same thing. DB task dot title priority. Now the priority is going to be an option with the priority, but the priority is also an option there, so we're fine. We just keep that. And finally, a description. This can be a DB task dot description. Now it is possible for us to implement like a from as a trait on the model, or on probably better be on the response task, and then we can just do like an into on it, and it would technically work. That's a little bit outside the scope of what we're going to be working with today. Okay, so we map that. We need to collect this back into a vector, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit semicolon. It's going to be yelling at me that, hey, we need type annotations, because it has no idea what we're trying to do. Are we trying to create a string, or are we trying to create a vector of response task? What are we trying to do? But it's okay, because we already defined what the type is up here in the response, this JSON vec. So I'm just going to tell it now, I want to return an OK, a JSON, and a task. And as soon as I do that, it realizes, oh, that's what I want to become. It now, REST Analyzer now understands that. The compiler is now fine with this, and it's going to return with all these items. Let's head back up to here, hit send now, and here we have all of our tasks displayed out for us. So that is how we can now get all tasks in our route. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Venox, hello. Is it a difference when you write let I colon I64 equals 42, or when you write I equals 42 I64? I am not aware of a big difference in like how the compiler is going to handle that. So I think something good to know about Rust is that it's trying to run as fast as possible at runtime when compiled in release mode. So when you compile to release mode, it's going to look at like what you're trying to do and then write the appropriate assembly code for that. In this case, I don't see a big difference between the two. In the end, it's going to know that it's creating that type of number at that position, and it's just going to do that. Now, if somebody knows better, let me know. Otherwise, that's what we're going to go with. Both are at the end I64. The latter one is not casted to an I32, but you're telling it to become an I64 in both cases. Now, if it would be casted, it can't be casted to an i64 because the compiler thinks that you might need all those numbers in the 64. So it wouldn't be casted to an i32 or created as an i32 and then casted to an i64. It won't be any of those things. It's just going to go straight to the end result. Okay, so we did you. Oh yeah, you could always use an underscore. This is actually a really cool thing that you can do in Rust. I keep on forgetting about this. Oh, Venox, thank you so much for the subscription. Welcome to the subscribed folk. You have access. I think we have one or two emoji that you can use. All right, I should put this in here. So with numbers in Rust, so if we want to do something like my number equals, let's say we do something like really long like that, and we want this to be in like an I64 here. You can put underscores wherever you want in it. So we could put an underscore here, but also we can say, okay, well, this is 1, 2, 3 there. So underscore there, 1, 2, 3, underscore there. And then we can see, oh, right. Okay, this is 12,341,234. So it's actually really nice. Oh, 2. Okay, yes, perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you again for the subscription. So anyways, the underscores I love in here. And so this doesn't change anything. It just allows you to break up numbers when you hard code them so you can read them better. Okay, so we get all the items from the database. I need to update you. Get all items from the database. Okay, let's close you off and commit all of you. Okay, next up is going to be using filters. So I wonder, because like I don't have a user ID yet. You had this confusion because in some languages, you don't remember which, it makes weird casting if you're not specific with these literals. It's actually one of the reasons I really like Rust, is because it seems to be pretty sane for the most part, like not doing any weird assumptions or anything else. But I guess that's what I think that's what happens when you have a more modern language and they've looked at all the weirdness of other ones. You're like, yeah, let's just not do that. You were wrong about Actix Web. You always thought it would override the route with the same path, but it works the same as Axum. Oh, nice. Okay. So the Rust routes. I wonder if it's because it's faster at runtime and they feel that they can just take the time to do that. Whereas in JavaScript, they really don't want to do anything crazy. So it's just go down as soon as you find it. That's it. We're using it. Okay. Which I wonder if that means that they're using a lookup table as opposed to a vector. That would make more sense. Or they maybe made their own lookup table. I don't know. I have not looked at the source code for Axum for how they do that. Okay, using filters. What I want to do, I want to do the equivalent of this. So we get all tasks. Oh, then I would probably like let's take in a path query. So we'll do something like filter like title filter. I want title filter to be equal to like to have like hello. So if I just do this, it won't really change anything. We'll still get everything. I have I have two tasks that start with my. So let's do this. My like that. And I would expect to get these two. I have not tried to use a like in CRM. Let's just update this one really quickly to sort of like see how I would do that. So inside of here, we're going to do a dot filter. Inside of here, we're going to do a dot filter. So we're going to have tasks. Come on. That one. Yes. There. We want column, title. Is there a like? No method name like. There's an equal. Oh, but I'm not seeing this. Let's see, and filter. Can you help me out here? So, yes, like this is equal. Ooh, okay, there's a contains. Okay, there's a contains. So I can do contains. And so in this case, if I want like a my, and that's a stir. Okay, so I want a my like that. And I think that's all. I think that your thing. I come over and I get send, and it's just yeah, there we go. Um, yeah, but I could use a contains, which is even nicer. I don't have to use the little percenty signs for it, which is really nice. Now, if I want to do new, which is like something in the middle of it, I would assume that this would still be selected. Okay, excellent. And then if I search for just something like ID, actually, I'm curious. If I use lowercase my, does that? No. Okay, so it is case sensitive for this, which is interesting. So if I want to filter by that case, I don't know if I would be able to do that properly. Not on the database side. Not on the database side. It would be on. I would have to get everything and then filter it out, uh, in code probably, using like a filter. I can't remember. Um does like care about case? How does that work? Let's go find out. C or M, Rust, like. Like is hard. Maybe it's gonna be somewhere similar to like contains. Oh man, searching for this stuff sucks. Okay, let's just head into here and we'll search for like. Okay, contains. Neither that. Insert, or I guess like no, this would be select. It'd be part of filter. It'd be part of filter. So uh, where am I in here? This is this is the entire page. Basics. So I want basic CRUD. So select. See, here's the contains. Okay. Cake column name. Oh, it's just like. Okay. Why did mine tell me that it couldn't find the like? So if it was just like, okay. Then I want nope, percent that side, percent. Back to you. Ooh, okay. So that's still just a my. Maybe it's a Postgres thing. I could swear that. Oh, maybe it's just when I was doing. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Is there a way to search for lowercase stuff or to tell like SQL? I don't remember anymore. I could swear that like I was able to do this before, but I must have done something else in my SQL query to like um to see all upper and lowercase with the um with the casing. But that's probably a Postgres thing that I need to worry about. And let's see, Postgres. Um, lower column like. Oh, is there a low? Okay, I can lowercase the column as I'm getting it back, and then like lower. Ooh, okay, so I could do that. Um, but you're not showing, which means this would probably need to be a raw SQL thing. You can always select a custom model. Now, taking in any information and then using it as part of a query gets really, 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 really dangerous. So I don't actually know if I want to teach that. I'll let people figure that out on their own. So we're just gonna go with the hey, you get you don't get cool things. Okay, so I think what we can do is do we want to add a filter? Let's do find with filter, and it'll be another route. Yeah, it'll be another route inside of that get all tasks. Okay. Okay. Do using filters. You just filter on the priority using a parameter. Oh yeah, priority would be great. Um, let's see, priority with this. So we're getting all of these. I have some B's and C's. Filter. Filter. I want to see like with the sum. I want to make sure that I'm correct about how this works. So we're gonna do tasks column priority. I want this to be equal. Is there like a what? there like a sum equal? No. There's that contains. Oh, right. It's an if null is a thing. It's not an. There's the like. Starts with is nice too. Okay, so this would be just an equal. Not recording right now. And also hello Bolferstad. So this is gonna be a sum like A. So if I do that, then we should just not see any of the B's here. There we go. There we go. Hello, how are you doing today? I am about to start a new recording now. We're going to use filters and I'll probably use a path filter. Oh, we haven't done query. Have we done query parameters? Did we miss that? So routing, route handler. So a path variable. Oh, query parameter. Yeah, we totally did add that in here. I need to remember how to do that. Query params. Oh, it's literally just query params. Oh, and then we set up this for what we're getting out. Trying to figure out a time for all of us in our group to meet to discuss about our presentation when everyone has different work schedules is a pain. It is, and it doesn't get better after you graduate. It gets worse. So, yeah, I know all about that. It's actually, so this is one of the top reasons why so many companies want people working at the same time is for scheduling purposes. It just makes scheduling so much easier. All right, so we have to create a struct for the query params as part of that. Okay, got it. And then it's just query. Maybe this is why everyone recommends people to make a scheduling app as a beginner project. No. Never make a calendar or a scheduling app ever. Like, those are way more complex than most people think. I don't know who is recommending that. I don't recommend that. We had to build like 3 different scheduling app type things into our product, and it sucked. I just don't do it. Friends don't let friends write scheduling apps or calendars. A scheduling app is a calendar, really. So, okay. You've seen those articles that recommend beginner projects, and one of them is always build a chess game. Yeah, and that's the thing is like a lot of them. All right, so putting on my educator hat here, there is a fallacy that a lot of educators have, especially educators who aren't trained as educators, but even the ones who are, like we all can fall prey to this, which is the expert blind spot is what it's called. And that's where we think that, oh, this is simple because like, I think it's super simple. So therefore a beginner should be able to do it. But the end result is no, we're forgetting how much less information or knowledge or capability a beginner has than us. Like it's a lot more usually. So it's like it's more like, hey beginner, write a for loop. Like write write a hello world, like, write and deploy a profile like web page, and then like start building from there on, for their skill levels. Build a chess game for a beginner project is no, because like that's going to get you into all sorts of things that you need to know before that case. Write the new Unix, write a full operating system, create an AI that plays your favorite game for you. Like things like that is like, um to a beginner, when they see something like build a chess engine, um they may not, they're going to trust, right? They're going to trust us as educators of like, oh, I can totally do that. But then once they start getting into it, they're going to search for articles on like how to do it. And they're like, oh, it's more than just creating a grid of like things on a screen. I have to also put in the chess rules now. Now I have to put in an AI to play against. Or if I don't have AI, I have to have multiplayer and networking now. It gets really, 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 really hard and complex really fast. Um, and I think that we all forget about how complex things are really fast, like really easily. Okay, using filters. I think we're gonna stay inside of get task. We're gonna do. Do I want to update get all task? I think I want to keep get all tasks the same, and I want to create a new one. Um, get all tasks with the filter, or I do the thing where I create optional filters. I could do the thing where we create optional filters. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Okay, let's let's implement that. We're gonna say that I want this to get the priority of all these. So let's do. Uh, don't want to implement an AI. I need to learn about API handling to grab someone else's AI. Exactly, exactly. That's what happens so often, and it like it doesn't mean that those things aren't good projects to work on. It just means that you need to know exactly what level the person is in order to recommend the right project for them. Okay, so gonna go back into recording, and we're gonna do filters to filter out the priority. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. We're now getting all of the tasks with our, well, get all tasks route. But what if we want to also filter what those tasks are? Because oftentimes we don't want literally everything, but really just a subset of everything. So what I'm thinking about is, what if we, let's go back into our ThunderClan here for an example. What if we get all the tasks, but instead just get all the priority A tasks, all the things that we need to work on right away? What we can do is we can use query parameters to limit the subset of items. So here we are in the get task file, and I want to continue working on this get all tasks here, and we're going to add in a query. But in order to add in a query parameters, we have to have the struct of the query parameters that we possibly be taking in. Now these are all going to be optional here, but we're going to start with a pub struct. We'll do a maybe get all task query params. Get all query params. Okay, so what are we going to care about here? We're going to care about maybe priority. Let's just start with that one. So priority, it's going to be an option because I don't want anything previous to this to break. And you're going to be a string because that's what's going to match going into the database. We are going to have to deserialize this. So let's derive, deserialize. I don't ever need to serialize this into a string again. And that means we want to handle this as a query. These are going to be the query params. And this is a query of get all query params. Okay, so far so good. No errors. I then want to, well, we have access to the query params. We need to create our filter. So if we add in a filter here between the find and the all, so a filter, we notice that there are some examples here that we can use. Now, the first one's not really necessarily helpful because this is always going to filter on the priority, and we only want to filter on the priority if we're passing in the query parameter for the priority. So let's go down until we find an optional filter. Here's this one, filter conditions. Well, if we take a look at this, okay, so we have let mute conditions, condition all, and then, hey, if the name exists, for example, then, set the condition to this add. Otherwise, it's not going to be one at all. Oh, cool, that's exactly what we want. So I'm going to keep this in mind. So the first thing is we want to create this condition all. So but before we create the task, do let mute. Now I want to name this condition properly, so not just condition, but this is going to be the filter by priority equals condition new. Was it all? It was all. Okay. Then we're going to have an if let sum. This is going to be the priority equals, and this is going to be the query params dot priority. And then we want to set this equal to what we're looking for. Okay, so that would be filter by priority is equal to tasks column. We want the priority. We want this to equal, and this is going to be a sum of priority. So I only want to set this if we have this equal. Now it's another option in here, so maybe we could actually just set this straight to be the priority. So now that I'm looking at it, we probably could just get away with that. Although it also makes sense to look in here to sort of see, hey, it's only happening if. Let's refactor this later if it works the way we expect it to. All right, back to the filter. We want to now filter by priority. We can add as many filters we want later on. Mismatch, expect CRM condition found. Simple expression. Let's go ahead and look at this documentation again and see where we went wrong. Here's our conditions. Oh, it's condition add. That's what we need to do. So here, do condition add. Oh, it's it's filter by priority add, and wrap that in there. There we go. Okay, everything seems to be working. Let's head back into here. We want to add in a query param of priority, and let's do A. So we should not get this first one. We should not get this second one. So we should get I am a task, and then the next one should be my new title. Hey, and we got that. If I search for B, that seems to work also. Now, if I just don't include the priority, we get everything again. Okay, great. Let's refactor this, and let's see if I just don't include the let sum here, the if let sum, to sort of unwrap it, because we already have an option and we're searching for an option. So let's do filter by priority by filter by priority add. I don't want this to be some priority. I just want this to be this would be the query params dot priority, and to pass that option directly into here. If I hit save, head back into here, and we hit send, we're getting nothing. We're getting nothing at all. If I want a B, we get that B, but that's a problem. We don't get anything anymore. It's filtered out everything because it's now saying, "Hey, we want stuff with a none in it," and there is no none in the database. There's actually a completely different query that you want to do if you want to check for null. So that was a good experiment, but we do need this if let, even though it looks a little bit strange with this sum there. Because I'm kind of unwrapping an option, then putting it right back into an option again. But okay, this should, let's see, resave this. Everything is now working again. And if I go back to B, there we go. We're happy again. So this is a way for us to set filters. So we want to add a filter in. Now, if I want to add in a filter just directly on here, I could just do a filter, and then I can just do tasks column like priority is dot equal to like a sum of like A. If I wanted to do this directly on here, this would be fine too, and would work just great. This is a optional sort of a conditional filter that I think works in this specific case a little bit better. And I want to show you both ways how to do it. I'll comment that out so it doesn't actually run our code. So hopefully this was helpful. We have got ourselves using the filters. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful, and see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, there was that. That was not too long. Also commit this. Filters. Using filters. Or I guess this is like filtering data from the database. Did I really need to wrap it back in sum? I believe I do. Let's double check though. So if I don't wrap it back in sum, and I just do this, let's find out. You're probably right. Oh, do I need to re-record this now? Do I not have any C's? Oh, I don't have any C's. Okay. You're right. Okay, so B works with that. A works with that. Wait, oh. Ooh. Yeah, that gives me nothing, and B gives me that. Okay. Yeah, you are right. I did not need to wrap that in a sum, so I probably want to re-record that. Okay, let's oh, I already committed this. Let me reset. So I want to not have query parameters, not have you, don't have you, and don't add you to. Okay. We should be back to where we started again. Okay. Let's do this one more time. You're surprised to return nothing when it was none because there's a null priority in the database. Yes, and the reason for that is because if you want to search for none, you can't use a none. You have to use an is null in the filter, which is very fun. We can actually add that in. We can add that in. If it's a none, we'll search for the null. Okay, got it. All right, I need to filtering data from the database. Let's delete you. All right, one second try here. We're getting all the items from the database, but what if we want to filter some of these items? Not get literally everything, but get a subset of everything. And we want to do that at the database level and not have to then filter through that in Rust on the back end or necessarily on the front end either. So what I'm thinking about here is searching through the priorities. So we have a priority null here, we have priorities A's, and we have priority B's. So my thought is let's add a parameter. So priority something like A. Now, of course, this doesn't do anything right now, but this is the idea of what I want to do. Well, if I head back into our get tasks here, we want to have query parameters. If we remember back from the query parameter lesson, we need to create a struct for that. So we're going to have a pub struct. This is going to be a get tasks query params. We're going to have a priority, and this is going to be an option with this string inside. Now we're making this be an option because we don't always want to filter it by priority. We just want to filter it sometimes. We're going to have to derive deserialize to serialize this out from a string into a Rust object. And we're going to have to add in the query here. So query, you are going to be the, I guess, query params. And query of get task query params. Okay. Now I have access to this. We want to create the filters. Now, there's a couple ways we can create the filters. One, we'll always filter, and that's if we add this before the all in here. If we add in a filter, not a find filter, we can use tasks in this case. There we go, getting some help from this. We want on the column, priority, and we want this to be equal to, like, let's say, well, whatever the query parameters is, right? So that would be query parameters dot priority. So if I do this, this will technically work. And now I can filter by A or, by B. And that's great. But if I remove this, we now get nothing at all because it's a none, right? And we're looking for a none in a database, but the database doesn't know what none means. And a null is not the same as a none. So we really need a conditional filter. So let's go ahead and comment this out, and we're going to create a conditional filter up there. So first of all, we're going to do a priority filter is equal to a condition all. So it starts with just everything. I'm going to make this mutable because we're going to make changes to it. And we're going to do an if let sum of priority is equal to the query params dot priority. Okay, well, this is the same as before. We want to just add this into the filter. Now we don't just do like filter straight like that. We're going to add it to the priority filter that we created here. So we're going to do priority filter add. The condition is no, I think it then it's tasks. We can actually see under, if we highlight filter here, that command. If we highlight filter, it actually shows us documentation of how to find this. So we're going to go down. Here's our condition. So conditional condition.add, and then we can just do whatever we want to do. Oh, and we are doing an equals to this. So almost missed that. So this is going to be a priority filter equals priority filter add condition. Okay, so this is task column. I want priority equal to. Now I don't have to have the option here. I can just put in the priority. Thank you. And that adds that. Let's go ahead and set U. So I want this filter to now be this priority filter. All right, let's go back to Thunder Client and sort of test this out. So if I have filtering B, okay, I'm seeing B. I'm seeing A, great. And if I do nothing at all, I get all of them. But if I do priority and I don't send anything in, I get nothing because it's that none here. So now what's interesting is that I'm kind of curious like where it's being hit. Because I don't think it's actually a none, because then that wouldn't be setting a priority filter. I think it's setting it to like maybe an empty string. Let's go ahead and double check what that is. I'm going to do a debug on priority just to sort of see what we've got. I don't want to move this. Let's do a reference to priority. And I'm going to open up our cargo watch down here so we can see what happens as soon as I hit with you being empty. Oh yeah, it's an empty string. Okay, so in order to check that, I want probably another if statement inside of here to check to see if priority is an empty string or not. Because if it's an empty string, there's a different way of checking, like, hey, is well, priority null or not? So let's do an if priority is empty. So if you're empty, we want to do priority filter equals, well, I'm actually going to move this. So priority filter at the base of this if statement. If you haven't seen this before, if statements can actually be full expressions that return things. Just both arms of the if statement have to return the same type of thing. So in this case, I'm going to do our priority filter add. Our condition is going to be the tasks column priority is null. Okay, so I want to search for is null. No semicolon because I'm returning out of the block. And then I want else. And I want to move you in here, remove that semicolon, and remove that. Now this does need a semicolon now here because this is an expression. Here's our priority filter that's being set from here. Okay. I am coming. Okay, I'm going to add in the priority filter there. Everything's good. So hit save. All right, let's try this again. So we have no priority set at all. We get everything. Priority set, and we're getting A. Okay. B. That's great. Nothing at all. We get the nulls. And if we put in like D, we don't have any at all. We get an empty vector. Perfect. So now we are filtering properly based upon the priority and sort of like intelligently doing the filter based upon like what we're expecting and what the user would of this API would expect as well. Anyways, hopefully this has been helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, that was a good call out, Sitsu. I probably would have forgotten the null one. So let's go ahead. That was already recorded. Let's re-add you. This is filtering redone. Okay, so this is filters. Let's see, filtering, filtering when getting, like filtering selects, like filtering, or I guess like maybe using filters, using C or M filters. Okay, got that. That's all set up here. I think we're good to go. Yeah, so we got 2 recordings done today. A little bit slow, but maybe it'll be better tomorrow. We'll sort of like we're seeing. Oh, we have updates coming up, atomic updates and patch updates. I have to remember. We'll probably only get 2 done tomorrow again too, because I have to remember exactly how to do them. And I think I want to say that it's not like we have to manually set each one. So everything is actually a patch update unless we state otherwise. But I'm kind of I wonder if I want to do that as like a to show the difference between a put and a patch, because this might be a way for me to trick people into learning like proper rest. Thank you, Wolfrestad. I don't know about the 10 out of 10, but or best streamer, but I will take it where I can. All right. Well, I have to get off to work, do my day job, which is not rest, unfortunately. I hope that you all have a great rest of your day too. And with that, I will be back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. Mountain Time to do more of these recordings. Unlucky, well, yeah. What language do I write in my job? I am writing JavaScript. No longer PHP. We are shutting that thing off tomorrow. I am so happy about that. So mostly JavaScript, mostly like a lot of Lambda functions. We have some ECS stuff. Obviously HTML, CSS for front end things. You'd like to use Vue.js for our front end framework. And back end is either little GraphQL stuff with Hasura, or I use just create our own with Express. We live in a time where JS is more portable than C because of ease of access. Yes, and also because people used C to write a system that then allows you to write JS. Like, I think people forget that. Is like C is still used all the time behind the scenes. It's just more of a behind the scenes type thing. All right. Well, anyways, thank you again for hanging out with me today. I shall see you all tomorrow morning. Have a good one, and bye. Oh yeah, thank you, Wolfrestad. I will add it to my reading list. Okay, well, heading out for real now. Have a good one, and see you next time. Bye.